Boeing, huh? Yeah, you could say they're in a bit of a bind right now. Buckle up because we're about to do a deep dive into what feels like a Category 5 hurricane aimed right at this aviation giant. We've got a whole stack of articles here, and let me tell you, it's not just a little turbulence they're dealing with. This is a full-blown storm. We're talking workforce cuts, production nightmares, a strike that just won't quit.
It's kind of alarming when you look at it, really. I mean, it's like the perfect storm, right? You've got all these individual challenges, and they all just seem to be converging at the same time to create something way more threatening. This isn't just about one delayed plane or some temporary labor dispute. This is about the future of Boeing itself.
Let's unpack that a little. Boeing just dropped this bombshell announcement, a 10% workforce reduction. That's 17,000 jobs just gone. What could possibly lead to such a drastic move?
Well, it's kind of a domino effect when you think about it. Remember that whole 737 MAX crisis? That did some serious damage to their reputation. I mean, they're still trying to claw their way back from that to regain that trust. But now, on top of all that, their new hope, that 777X wide-body plane, yeah, that's delayed again. And we're not talking a minor setback here. It's pushed back to 2026.
6 years behind schedule.
Exactly,
Yeah.
6 years. Seems they discovered some structural damage during testing, which, raises some serious questions about their manufacturing processes.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if they're prioritizing speed over safety.
That's a chilling thought, especially with the whole 737 MX debacle still fresh in everyone's minds. And of course, all this turmoil has to be hitting them where it hurts financially. Our reports indicate Boeing is expecting close to a $10 billion loss this quarter.
Yeah, a $3 billion charge for their commercial airplanes, another $2 billion on the defense side. It's a financial earthquake.
And it's easy to see why, really. I mean, the 777X delays equal delayed revenue, right? And then you've got this strike dragging on, each month another $1 billion down the drain. Even Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg admitted that they're in a difficult position facing tough decisions.
Difficult. Might be putting it mildly, don't you think?
He's only been CEO for a couple months, and it sounds like he walked right into a 5-alarm fire.
It's a mess.
And this strike, this just adds fuel to the flames. And as if all that wasn't enough, we got to talk about this machinist strike. 5 weeks. It's like they poured gasoline on an already out-of-control fire.
Oh yeah, this strike is a huge problem for Boeing. And it's not just about the money they're losing every month either.
Right.
We have to think about the long-term impact here. Credit rating agencies, they're watching this very closely. And there's a real chance Boeing could lose its investment grade rating.
Okay, see, now that sounds kind of scary. But, explain it to me like I don't really understand economics. What does that actually mean for a company like Boeing, and why should I care?
Basically, it comes down to trust. An investment grade rating tells lenders and investors that Boeing's financially stable, a safe bet, right? If they lose that, borrowing money becomes a lot harder, more expensive too.
So, like getting a bad credit score, basically.
Exactly. It affects everything. It could really hurt their ability to, invest in new projects or even just weather future problems.
Makes sense.
And you should care because it could affect everything down the line, from ticket prices to, Boeing's ability to innovate and make things better in the future.
So, let's break down this strike a bit more, shall we? What are the main sticking points in these negotiations between Boeing and the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers?
Well, at its core, it's a classic labor versus management situation.
Right.
Boeing put a contract on the table, but the union's saying it doesn't do enough to address their concerns.
Like what?
Pay, obviously. Benefits. Job security, especially now with all these job cuts. Imagine being told you have to do more with less when the company's struggling, and then they lay off thousands of your coworkers.
Yeah, I could see how that wouldn't go over well.
There's a real sense of betrayal there.
But Boeing's saying that the union is negotiating in bad faith. They even filed a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board. What's their side of it?
Boeing's argument is that they're trying to be fair.
Yeah.
They're saying, look, we're all in this together,
Right?
right? But they also claim the union's being unreasonable, that they're not willing to compromise.
Sounds like two ships passing in the night.
Yeah, and the rhetoric is heating up for sure.
How so?
The union president, John Holden, he actually called out Boeing's CEO directly. Wants Ortberg to come to the table and negotiate a deal that works for everybody, not just the executives and shareholders. He's saying that the workers are the ones building these planes, and they deserve to be treated fairly.
Well, he's not wrong. It's a tense standoff, that's for sure. You've got Boeing trying to, weather this financial hurricane and the union fighting like hell for its members.
High stakes, no doubt.
No clear winner in sight. It's easy to get lost in all the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
the financial ups and downs. But we got to remember there are actual people caught in the middle of all
No
this.
doubt.
These job cuts, the strike, we're talking about families facing a really uncertain future.
You're absolutely right. These aren't just like data points on a spreadsheet. These decisions have a ripple effect.
Totally.
And it goes way beyond Boeing's headquarters. Think about it.
Hmm.
A whole network of suppliers, smaller businesses, entire communities.
Right. They all depend on the aviation industry.
Exactly. The impact is huge, and it's personal.
It's like you throw a rock in a pond and those ripples, they just keep going outward. And
Yeah.
what about the long term? How do you think these decisions will affect Boeing like 5, 10 years down the road? Their reputation, their market position.
$1 million question right there.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Boeing's dealing with a crisis of confidence, right?
Okay.
That whole 737 MAX thing, that really hurt.
For sure.
And these issues now, they just add to it. They have to find a way to build back trust, and not just with investors, airlines, the flying public,
Everyone.
everyone. Can they really get back to being top dog in aviation with all this hanging over their heads?
It's a steep climb back up.
For sure.
They need to navigate this financial mess, but also convince everyone they can still make safe, reliable planes. Talk about a tightrope walk.
No margin for error. They need a plan, a real
Yeah.
strategy.
So what does that look like? I mean, what does a successful turnaround even look like at this point?
Honestly, it's probably a whole bunch of things.
Okay.
It's about compromise, for sure.
Yeah.
Innovation, too. Maybe they need a fundamental shift in how they do things, their whole approach. Manufacturing, how they deal with their employees.
It's got to be more than just a quick fix, right?
Exactly. This is about making hard choices, owning their mistakes. They need to prove they're committed to doing better.
It's a good reminder that even the big guys, like Boeing, they're not invincible.
Nobody is.
They're staring down this perfect storm, and what they do next, that's going to determine if they make it through.
And look, it's bigger than just Boeing.
Right.
The whole aviation industry is connected.
Yeah.
What happens to them, it affects all of us. Stay informed, keep asking the tough questions. This story is far from over.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this deep dive. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on how all of this plays out. In the meantime, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep diving deep. We'll see you next time.